Hello, welcome to WeWednesday, which is now on a Thursday because of the technical issues that we had yesterday. So today we're going to have Mujeer. Let me send them an invite. Hello everybody, welcome. Thank you. We should have Mujeer on any minute now. Hi. Oh, sorry, 1 second. I can't hear you, no. Sorry, I think we have somebody else online. No, I can't hear.
Am I audible?
Hi, I'm not sure who's audible.
I can't hear you, Diti.
I can hear you now, yes.
Okay, I can hear you now. Okay.
Yes.
Are we good?
Yes. Sorry about yesterday.
That's all right. It happens.
So, welcome to WeWednesday. And today is special because we're having it on a Thursday.
Oh yeah, it's an exception.
So, yeah. So we have Mujeer Pasha online with us right now, who's a writer, editor, and filmmaker. And I think the first time I heard about you was Amar Prem. Was I think the first movie that I saw of yours. And then after that, I kept track of what you do, and I think I've seen you a couple of times in Kashish as well for 𝘞𝘌 𝘊𝘰𝘮𝘶 screening. That is my absolute favorite. So he's been part of his journey of filmmaking has been what, 9 years now?
Yeah, about 9 years. Yeah, I started in about 2013.
Okay.
And since then, I've been trying to make films, making films, and all that.
Okay. Anything else that you would like to add as a part of your introduction?
Okay, that's the tough thing to do. So I'm a Bangalore boy. I've been here pretty much all my life, and I come from a family of movie buffs, but I did engineering, right? And then I had my own journey through those times to kind of get to where I am today, and.
Right.
Yeah, it's been fun. I'd say, becoming a filmmaker has been a fun path.
No, I think that's what they say about everybody in India, right? You do engineering and then you figure out what you want to do.
Yes, I think this is something about engineering. It pushes you in every other direction.
Except for engineering, which rarely happens. How is your personal life in the sense? How was your coming out story? How was that journey like, work-wise or family-wise?
I think I came out as a filmmaker, and I came out as a queer filmmaker. Somehow something about making films and making films about LGBT characters and LGBT stories was a part of like initial years of me figuring out myself and wanting to make films and my sexuality, and it it got clubbed, and so yeah, I come from a typical Indian Muslim middle class family, right, where
Right.
you don't talk sex at all. I mean, you don't even think about sex. It's wrong. And then I've had my journey, and I struggled with it. I didn't even know what homosexuality was, When I was young, I just heard the word, and I heard about the word gay, and I didn't know what it meant. And Google doesn't help you enough. So
Yeah.
I was just sitting there, waiting to meet somebody who called themselves gay, like proudly out there. And
Hmm.
I met someone, I met a friend um, who introduced me to community, very early on. And I had some reference to what kind of life I would have if I were to, accept myself as a gay person.
Right.
Uh, and and since then, the kind of films that I picked, to make, and meeting different kind of people for research, or
Hmm.
to show the film, somehow all of that kept adding to my journey. So my struggles of being or not wanting to be gay were, it was like stretched for too long. Somehow with those struggles, I think my closet broke itself. I broke out of it, and then and I was like, hey, I mean, I have nothing to hide, so I don't, since I'm not hiding, I don't need to come out,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
So with people around me, initially I would just say, what, I am this and that, and then later I just like slyly plug it in. I like, people are talking about their girlfriends and boyfriends and all of that, and I just talk about somebody I dated, and I'd say he, and I just continue. I'd be very nonchalant.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
then something about coming out as gay people, I mean, as just people from the community, we coming out all the time, right? Like, you
Yep.
go to a new place, you're coming out. You meet new friends, you're
Yep.
coming out. You go on a new
Yep.
project, you're coming out. You're constantly coming
Yep.
out. And that's exhausting.
Yep.
I think the only coming out moment was with family.
Hmm.
Um, Other than that, I think I don't come out. I don't hide. So
Yeah. I think sometimes even with the same people, you have to come out again and again.
oh yes.
Yeah.
And also, I think when you're in the community and when you have access to yourself, when you're exploring and experiencing,
Yeah.
like, you find better ways to kind of express who you are.
Absolutely.
And sometimes, you're constantly coming out to yourself. You're like, hey, you know
Yeah.
what? I thought I was this, but I'm also
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. So, as a movie buff, what does queer movie mean to you, or queering movies mean to you?
I think just to see anybody like me in movies, just to see
Yeah.
somebody um, from the LGBT community, or somebody who's just queer, who's just not on the mainstream paths, who's just not
Hmm.
on a train, on a track. Anybody who just gets off the train and then is out in the jungle trying to figure out
Right.
who they are. Those journeys I find queer. I was telling a friend recently how I find Gangubai very queer.
I've
That
heard
is,
that around. Yeah.
just the need for them to kind of from parental rejection to societal rejection, to them needing to form a community and build those friendships
Right.
and long for love. It's a lot of queer journeys.
Yeah.
So I think I'm beginning to see queer beyond sexuality and gender.
Yeah.
Um, Even in myself and things around, I think queer
Hmm.
is a larger umbrella, and
Hmm.
a lot of us are just figuring out. You can't like point a finger and say
Yeah.
this is queer and this is not. But I also feel queering movies is about queer people making them. Like, it's a
Hmm.
queer lens, queer gaze,
Hmm.
right? Like, there are movies that just I think I was just watching something, and it's also how gay men look at people they're presenting, let's say,
Hmm.
or gay women, like, people they're presenting, and I'm like, hey, is this person is this person like not straight, let's say. And then I
Yeah.
just Google and they're like, hey, I'm right. So there's something about queer lens that you watch films and
Yeah.
you can tell.
Yeah.
Like just like how there's female gaze, right? I mean, you can watch a film and then you say, hey, you know what? This is not made by a man, straight man. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, when you talk about queer lens and queer gaze, what was that movie? Imran Khan wala Janelia.
Jane to ye jane na.
Jane to ya jane na. There's that one song. I don't know if you. I mean, I'm not sure if you remember. There's one Sugandha Garg in one song, that Pappu Khan dance wala song. There's one scene in that song where she's very closely dancing with another woman, right? And I remember talking to one of my uncle. I don't remember if I was out to him yet. So I asked him, "Ke, do you see, there is no, like, except for that one part, which is very visually queer, there's nothing else in her character arc that says about her queerness." So my uncle was like, oh, maybe they thought it was too risky and cut it out. Maybe they thought about it, which is why that part is there. And then I ran it by a lot of my friends and they were like, this is definitely queer because it's just one part, like literally like 4 seconds in that song. And I'm like from then it's been like a journey of, like you said, wanting to see somebody like you. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's like queering movies or queer movies, absolutely one simple thing that you said is just wanting to see somebody that looks or feels relatable and like you. Yeah. And
Right.
and like you shared your experience, like I shared my experience, I think again it will be different for different people depending on their identity, what they identify as, what label they go by. And I think there needs to be more conversations around what somebody wants to see on screen. And I remember a while back when I was working on a podcast, looking up for lesbian and gay representations. And so everybody on the spectrum were looking at representation. And then beyond lesbian and gay, which itself was a binary, there's nothing around anything. I mean, trans, yes, when it comes to gender identity, but in sexual orientation, there's never any bisexual, like at least vocally said bisexual representation ever. At least I couldn't find anything. So
But also in this representation, do you see how there is an erasure of a certain kind of queer people? You know, we are
yes,
moving towards what is acceptable as a gay person or as a lesbian person. You know, like if you're like how there is an erasure of an effeminate gay man. Totally, you know, it's all like straight acting, like the term that is around, right? Like
yeah, yeah,
as long as you can pass as a cis man in the movies, it's
yeah,
absolutely fine, right? And we don't see representation of butch women at all. We're seeing femme women playing, you know, mostly
yeah,
like I've just seen in the popular cinema at least. There is a
yeah,
certain representation, and then we're going for what can be accepted by Indian society.
yeah,
We're only going for a certain aspect of it, and then if you see, and also trying to make LGBT characters, or say if it's a trans person, there's somebody with a huge heart. You know, that's the representation we're going for. I mean, we can't just be people with
angry and
faults.
frustrated.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a bit of, there's very little representation. I mean, there's inclusion, I'd say, you know. I think a lot of people
Yeah,
are doing a good, they are trying. And then I also see, you know, people are taking feedback and bringing in, say, a queer person as
yeah,
a consultant, all of that, which is
yeah,
good. So there is inclusion. I don't see representation, or I don't see references. I think, you know, when you look at popular cinema or popular
yeah.
art form, you're looking for something to kind of see there, you know, hey, you know what, they did it, I do it. We don't see those references yet.
Yeah,
I mean, I
I,
don't see.
I,
I think a lot. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't want to speak.
yeah. I think like just when I was talking, I just thought of this movie that is coming up. But then again, it's not like a completely Indian movie. It's Hollywood and Indian production in which Samantha is doing out bisexual character. So that will be something to see. But I completely agree with what you say. We're like most of the movies which have queer characters written are somewhere to either suit the cishet gaze or to fit into the heteronormativity, whether it is how a trans woman is presenting, like a cis woman playing a trans woman is a problem on many levels. And one of the things is that you're setting a stereotype as to how a trans woman should present or even be physically. Right. So those again are very problematic representations. And I'm like you're saying, right? I mean, I only feel the makers take the criticism the right way and work on it, not absolutely say, oh, whatever we make you don't like kind of an attitude. So yeah, I think I was saying more conversations around these need to happen, more criticism and more conversations and more movies. I think the more movies we have, the more the bad ones will drown away is my general idea. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So so moving on to the next question, in your experience as a maker and as an audience, how do you think Indian cinema is doing when it comes to queer representation? Would you say there is growth, like in a good direction?
It's moving somewhere. I mean, my earliest memory of anything queer was, remember Raja Hindustani?
Yeah.
So there's this whole comment of how like naram naram hai. That's my earliest reference. You grew up watching Bollywood. And through the years, there have been like gay photographers, gay fashion designers, to gay jokes, to all of that. That has done more damage than anything. But today, just looking at where we are today, with about some 4 or 5 mainstream films about, like we had a lesbian, I mean, a lot of them are bad films. But there is a talk about it, What I like about it is that, like in the long run, because this whole queer feminist movement is not about 1 film, 2 films, right? It's going to take us like few years, like some years or something, and then we look back and then we're like, hey, you know what? We're going to be more forgiving, I think, to a lot of these films. And then we just look back and say, you know what? They did show that we existed, at least, while they made fun of us. So I'm looking at it like that, Like I'm but as an audience, I am scared to watch a film about gay character in a theater. Even anywhere, I just feel like I'm going to be disappointed, and there's a lot of I feel like there's so much tension about just making a gay film, just not even a gay film. I mean, it's a gay film, just a film about gay people. There's so much tension about it. There's so much like that is your plot, right? And I am nervous, and I'm like, hey, how is this going to pan out? And I ask for. I usually don't ask for reviews, but when it comes to anything to do with queer people and Indian cinema, I ask a lot of people about were you like disappointed? Were you triggered? And if they say no, I go watch it. And there are some moments I'd like to give to them. There are some moments I was watching Badhai Do. I haven't finished the film, but then there was this part just to see 2 women being affectionate or being attracted to each other. It was nice, right?
Nice.
And also I like like also just looking back while we were talking about Raja Hindustani, I also remember like queer references there have been to me. Just the whole idea of queering, not talking about like labeling people, but if you remember Pakiza, right? There is this.
Okay.
You know, if you just go back as far as that, right? There's this little friendship between Meena Kumari and her friend, and there's so much affection and romance. It's a little beyond sisterhood and things like that. Also to see, like a bunch of things like that. I feel there have been smart ways of exploring a certain possibility. So yeah, and the same director also made Razia Sultan, and then there is a song which can be seen as
Oh,
a
this song I know, 83. Yeah, this song I know. Hema Malini and somebody, Parveen Babi. So,
Arvind
Hema
Babi, yes,
Malini and
exactly,
somebody. Yeah,
exactly, and also Falguni Pathak, one of Falguni Pathak's songs.
all
Uh,
Falguni Pathak songs, you
yeah,
mean?
yeah. Like now when I look back, I think back then it didn't really click. Now when I look back, I'm like, oh, this is what they were going for. So to wherever we are today, we are seeing, like, even in some big shows there is at least one gay character. We've
Yeah.
had a bunch of web series. I feel
Hmm.
are bringing it. So they're constantly trying to bring it in, and
Yeah.
some of it is, even if it's like not great representation, but they're trying,
True,
and
true.
that's kind of fun. Let's say.
Uh, yeah, I think web series, I do agree. I think people, there are a lot many, and there are a lot many bad ones also on the same scale. But then I think that is a space where people who are making or writing are also given a lot of chances to experiment as such, I suppose, right?
And also, I think we're all, even as a maker, right? And also, we're all trying to understand how to sort of bring it out, right? A lot of people are trying different ways because these stories have not been said before, and there's so much taboo. And then some people are
Yep.
taking that out of comedy, and I'm beginning to feel, I think we should stop wanting to sensitize people and just go out and say,
Yeah.
tell a story. Just tell a story. Okay, there's a
Yeah.
gay person. Yeah, there's a story. I think
Yeah.
if we just get to that attitude, we might be able to make films that has less tension. I just feel like each time there's a gay film out, I'm like, oh, so much tension. So
So I think again, it even like if a movie has lead queer characters, it's a different experience to watch it by yourself and watching it in a theater along with audience reaction. Like, what if people laugh for a situation they're not supposed to, right?
yeah.
It's I mean, on one level it might be horrifying, on one level it's just traumatizing. So
Yeah.
theater, I like like you said, I don't think I'd ever risk watching, like, I mean, in the last 3 years, so I've not been watching on theaters at all. Even if stuff is opening up now, I'm not sure I want to risk a queer movie at all. Like,
Same.
yeah,
I,
it's
I, I, I think I did
traumatizing.
Bombay Talkies. There was
Huh.
one of the stories was gay. Somebody
Right.
laughed. Oh God, it made me so angry.
Of
and
course, of
and
course.
it begins to feel unsafe. Suddenly you're reminded that this space is
Yeah.
unsafe and somebody's looking at it. And theaters become unsafe suddenly, and then you're like, hey, should I just get out?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in comments, I see one of my friend is there calling me Akka. But yeah, please, if you have any references of movies or situations, please do share. So again, I think you have spoken quite a bit about what I'm going to ask in the next question. But what were some of the good examples or nuances that you can think of? I think you mentioned about Badai Do, about that one.
Yeah.
Anything else?
A Suitable Boy? I think, was it A Suitable Boy? Yeah, this Meera
Yeah,
Nair.
yeah.
There's
With
this
yeah.
beautiful, like Man and his friends, the friendship, right? The Nawab
Yeah.
guy, and then this beautiful. Um, there is certain affection there, and that is queer. I think those references.
Hmm.
That was beautiful. Also, I think in Made in Heaven, Tara and Karan's friendship,
Yeah.
that I thought was beautiful. They're like these little
Yeah.
references. I think I like them more than just out and out. Like, personally, I think I like where there's queer. It's just not
Yeah.
about two men holding hands and
Hmm.
walking. So that, which is also brave and beautiful. Um, yeah.
And also how, like, you bring up Made in Heaven, it was not the stereotypical Hollywood में जो दिखाते हैं ना कि a straight woman having a gay best friend. It wasn't that energy at all, which I was like very thankful to the writers and makers that, you bring in that vibe, like, oh, people go for shopping, or, all that was like. But there is also, like, earlier you had mentioned about the erasure of effeminate gay men. I mean, this is the personal opinion. I think that is happening because they don't know how to do it sensitively, versus that has been a stereotype that has been constantly used to, make jokes about. So I'm guessing somewhere it is being avoided because people don't want to do it the wrong way, because that's the only way they know how to do it. Not grown to a place where I think.
And I think everybody is like I said, everybody or all filmmakers out there are trying to figure out how to bring it out, and that's where queer filmmakers would do a fantastic job.
Yeah.
You just bring in queer filmmakers, and then representation is going to be bang on. Can't claim that. There have been, a lot of it is also lost in translation, and then there are queer writers in some places, and then you see their names and you still see that representation is not on the dot, but then it's also how much content they have. But I think, just bringing in more, like if you're like just bringing in a queer lens, I think is going to be fun. It could be even stories about straight people.
Of course. I mean,
it's going to make for an interesting watch. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, like I was saying earlier, the more movies we have, the less bad movies we'll have. And
it cancels. Yeah, it sort of starts canceling itself. Cool.
Yeah, definitely. And that's all about the questions that I had. We've had some interesting audience questions. So there was one about apne boyfriend ko kaise manao? He's not been talking to me for a week. So I'm not sure if you want to answer that. Like how to deal with relationship stuff. Wrong. So another question was
radio show about love and heartbreaks.
Late night radio shows. Another question was about how to deal with homophobic, toxic, and limitless people. I'm not sure what limitless means though.
People who don't understand boundaries. I think.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's what they could mean. I don't know how to deal with them. I mean, what I do is, if you can avoid. I think there's no need to engage when it's draining and when it is triggering. And that's the first thing to do. The other thing is to see if you can. I mean, even to make conversations a lot of work. When somebody is. So I think show them queer films. Show them films that are easy. You don't have to do the talking. You could probably get somebody to do the talking for you. If there's a film that you should watch this, and then maybe you'll understand what it is to be.
Yeah, that's definitely a way to start. And what would you say are your, I'd say, top 3 queer representations done in India, in Indian movies, like any language?
I enjoyed, was it Muthun, the Malayalam film?
Muthan, yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that film. I enjoyed the younger person, who I mean, I see them as queer, like the sister who the girl who goes out as a boy to kind of protect themselves. I see that person as queer. I don't really see that as a girl going out as a boy.
Right.
I think it was just queer. I enjoyed the way the film was told. There's very little apology in the representation of it. The film was just beautiful and honest, whatever it was saying. Some parts of Made in Heaven, I think some queer characters there. Karan was definitely interesting. And what else was queer that connected with me in India? Can we talk about non-Indian films?
Sure, sure.
Uh, no, I mean, it's just I think yeah. I mean, I'd say whatever queer there was in A Suitable Boy. I enjoyed that. I
Hmm.
enjoyed those moments. Yeah.
Nice. And I think we have one more coming up by Deepa Mehta, right? The Funny Boy, or is it out already?
Yeah. There are a lot of movies. I think people are bringing in a lot of queer stories, and then you hear a lot of your friends are also making some of them, which is fantastic. And
Yeah, and then
we
we
get
have,
to
and
know
then we
like
have,
when we get to be, yeah, like you said, like if we have, so the problem here is, yeah, wait, I think I had another reference that I enjoyed from Fame Game. There's this scene where
yeah.
Madhuri Dixit brings up this conversation of how her son could be gay. I thought it was
Hmm.
beautiful. It
Hmm.
was written and performed, and also just to see Madhuri Dixit
Yeah,
accepting a gay son,
the sun.
like in the Indian
Yeah.
context, that
Yep.
is big. She's also done something. You remember 𝘞𝘌 she's also playing like
Yeah, yeah,
a
yeah.
sort of like not a
Yeah,
lesbian
for
person, but a
motivation.
person who is into women. Oh, I have a power
Yeah,
cut here. Uh, uh, Wait, let's just do something about this.
sure.
Um,
Yep, this works.
okay, is it good? Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
so Madhuri
So
Dixit,
yeah. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That I thought was beautiful. I remember how I think in 𝘞𝘌 there were some moments. Like I watched it in theater and I thought nobody got it. It was so smart when she talks about माँ खुशी, she says, वो मेरी दोस्त भी है, बहन भी है और प्यार भी. And that is something I thought was smart. And then they also bring in references from Lihaf. I mean,
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
like the kiss in the shadow and
yeah,
a bunch like that. It was smartly done, and that 𝘞𝘌 was beautiful for in parts wherever they explore queerness.
yeah. I think it's this smartness which I suppose that comes with enough exposure and research and doing things or saying things only queer people might pick up, which makes it very like nice.
Yeah, it's nice. I enjoy that. I enjoy that kind of cinema. And I think I got it. That's
Yeah.
great for me.
Um, so thank you so much for your time. Do you want to add anything else at the end? Like we're at the end.
Um, I think we should watch like when we are asking for queer films, right? When we are asking people to make queer films, I think we should give a lot of queer films that are already out there a chance. We should watch them. Like it's this whole thing. What counts is how many people are also watching it.
Hmm.
And so yeah, I think we should. I'd rather request a lot of people to be a little less harsh with
Hmm.
criticism. Like
Hmm.
there are times you see a trailer of a film that's out, and then people are just talking about how this
Something.
person should not be playing this character. I think people are trying. I mean, a lot of filmmakers are trying,
Hmm. Hmm.
and um, we should wait a little and then watch the film and then
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So, yeah. Chalo, take care.
cool.
Thanks a
Thank you
lot for
so
your time. It was
much.
lovely talking to you. I've got so many movies to watch now.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Chalo, take care. Bye.
Take care.